intended, dear, I assure you. How could I take offense at one who has always looked after my best interests? The old fool. Did you say something, Anna? Not unless you heard my thoughts, dear Mrs. Dalton. You've always been my best friend, my counselor, my aid. And why not? Wasn't your mother my dearest friend? Tell me, Anna, is the fortune she left you still intact? Why, yes, of course. You should know that above all others. I could never dispose of my income, much less dissipate the principal. If she but knew, would she still receive me here, I wonder? No doubt you're wondering why I'm asking such vital questions. Oh, no, I'm quite accustomed to your questioning. What's that you say, Anna? Oh, I mean, I would be quite put out if you didn't ask me such vital questions. I knew that you would understand an old woman's whims, and that for many years it has been my dream to see an alliance between you and my son, Jack. Oh, Mrs. Dalton, the moment I've longed for is at hand. Now, Anna dear, you mustn't be embarrassed. It is every woman's destiny to wed and be protected by the love of a strong man. Yes, and one could look the world over and never find a stronger, manlier specimen than your own son, Jack Dalton. Yes, Jack is all of that. Hist, Anna, and I will let you in on a secret. From the moment Jack was born, I was determined that I would not have a weakling for a son. It was then and there that I decided that Jack would be a leader among men. You, then, are responsible for his strength. How did you accomplish all of this? You will guard my secret well? Upon my honor, dear Mrs. Dalton. Then listen. As soon as Jack was old enough, I began to feed him an onion a day. An onion a day is a secret of Jack's great strength. That is no secret, dear Mrs. Dalton. But enough of this small talk. Jack has reached a marriageable age, overflowing. Ever since we were children, I have adored Jack with a love that is almost idolatry. I have chosen Egbert Van Horn of the illustrious Van Horn family to wed my daughter Eloise. It shall be a double wedding, my dear. You and Jack, Egbert and Eloise. It shall be the social event of the season. How dear you are to me. Now you shall be my mother legally, and I will try never to disgrace the fair name of Dalton. I have no fears as to that, Anna dear. You are in every way Jack's equal, and you will be a credit to us all. Where could that Bertha be? Do you mean your maid? Yes, she's been acting in a strange manner as of late. I will be mistress here, and she shall be placed in a small shack. One room is large enough for that of a busybody. I wonder if Jack has been stupid enough to leave the letters I have written him lying around. I'm curious to know. Sir, do you dare question me? You, a common maid.
I am only a maid, that is true. But many a heart that beats beneath Cowsville is more worthy than that covered by its silks and satins.
I shall report your insolence immediately and have you discharged, you impertinent minx.
As you wish. But if you do, you shall force me to tell her that you were spying among her private papers.
I will not listen to insults from such as you. Tell Mr. Jack that I'll be waiting for him in the music room as soon as he arrives.
I'm so glad you're home.
Has my fair beauty been crying? What has happened to cause you this pain?
Why, it's nothing, Jack. Nothing at all.
Those eyes should never be dim with teardrops, Bertha.
Shh. Your mother hears her son calling her maid pet names. All will be over between us.
In another day, we shall tell the entire world our secrets, Bertha mine.
I shudder to think of what will happen when Mrs. Dalton knows.
Oh, don't be silly. She will clasp you to her heart. For my sake.
I'm not so certain, Jack.
Now calm your fears, Bertha mine. Remember that I am here to protect you.
Jack, when I first came to work here and we first grew to care for each other, I wanted to tell you something concerning my past. For 3 months I've been trying to tell you, but to no avail.
I am not concerned with the past, my dearest. The future is all that matters.
But I insist that you listen. I demand that you hear me.
Oh, very well. But I'm telling you, it'll make no difference in my feeling towards you.
It's a very sordid tale, Jack. I was born...
I don't see why you
What?
have... I was about to say, I don't see why you have to begin that far back.
Because I want you to know everything. I was born of very proud parents. My father was away on business at the time of my mother never did recover her health, and when I was very young, she went to join Daddy, and I was left with no mother to guide me.
My poor Bertha. Were you an only child?
No, I had a dear brother. Wherever we went, we were alluded to as the two orphans. We were very poor, and brother sold newspapers on the street. He was the ragged newspaper. And when I was able, I became a seamstress, and was known as Bertha, the sewing machine girl.
That name sounds familiar to me.
As time went on, my brother prospered. Through a lucky trick of fate, he came into the possession of the golden giant mine. Suddenly, we were transformed from rags to riches.
Yes, go on.
And that was when the serpent reared his ugly head. We had been happy in poverty, but as soon as wealth enveloped us, it brought only misery and despair.
You mean?
Hector Harcourt, brother's business partner, conceived a sudden regard for me. He forced his attentions upon me. I was so young, innocent, so trusting.
Yes, and then?
Through a clever ruse, Hector Harcourt, arch-villain and schemer, played upon my girlish affections until I followed his bidding and gained my brother's signature on a paper which forfeited all rights to the golden giant mine, putting Hector Harcourt in complete control.
Yes. Then?
Hector started to woo me with candy and flowers and other priceless gifts so dear to every young girl's heart. When he was satisfied that I was his willing dupe, he insisted that I meet him at midnight on the bridge and that I bring the papers with me.
The unprincipled hound!
That wretched night will live forever in my mind. He begged me to become engaged to him secretly and to say nothing to my brother of our upcoming wedding. This I agreed to do.
Bertha, how could you?
Do not berate me, Jack. Remember that I was of tender years, blinded by the wealth and worldly manners of Hector Harcourt. By the time I discovered his evil nature, it was too late. It was too late.
How late was it? Were you and Harcourt still on the bridge?
Oh, no. We were only there long enough for me to hand the papers over to him and promise to become his future bride.
My Bertha, what happened next?
Oh, Jack. It was awful. It was terrible. I didn't know what to do. I was stuck. So I broke down and I confessed everything to brother. And upon upbraiding the villain, Hector showed my brother the papers, proving that he no longer had any claim to the mine, and had my poor brother thrown off the property.
Ye gods! Where's your brother now?
If I only knew. For over 5 years, I've not had a line or any inkling to his whereabouts. Hector Harcourt disappeared, and brother bade me farewell, saying that he was going to spend the rest of his life in pursuit of the scoundrel, and swearing that he would never rest until he found and wreaked vengeance upon him.
Oh, the pity of it.
One fatal mistake that I made, handing the papers over to Hector, and the cost, misery, desolation, a broken heart and a broken home.
Then I am not the first man you've ever loved, my dear Bertha.
Oh, how can you utter such a thought, Jack? What I felt for Hector is as nothing compared to my love for you. One was a tiny spark, the other rooted into my very soul.
My Bertha, you are like a fair gem in this shoddy setting, but soon all that will be changed. You have a face of a queen that were born to rule and command.
Jack, I am a mere nobody, a maid in your mother's employ.
But not for long. Soon I shall acquaint my mother with the glorious tidings, and the entire world will drink at your fair beauty and worship at your shrine.
Come along, Nana dear. Got to be home now soon.
Your mother, she must not catch us together. She'll be bound to suspect.
Eloise is making herself ready for Edward's appearance, as is the way with all lovers. He's been gone for 6 months, has he not? Just
Mother, how lovely you look this evening. I only know of one girl that can lay claim to such beauty as yours. Am I not right, Anna?
a very pretty left-handed compliment, my devoted son. One can easily guess who that one girl is.
Oh, it's impossible to keep secrets from you, Mother dear.
You better not try, Jack. Be a dear and make for good. It does seem that Jack is trying to keep a secret from us all. Don't you think?
What do you mean by that, Anna?
Did you ring?
I most certainly did, girl. I should like you to massage me before I retire this evening.
Very good, miss. If you'll ring me when you wish me to begin, I shall be ready and waiting.
I would like a drink, if you have time to bring it to me, girl.
Of course. Do you prefer ginger ale or...
Just
must be the doorbell. Since the maid is busy and the butler's out for the evening, I'll answer it if you don't mind.
She is rather pretty, in a cheap, common sort of way, don't you think? Who is pretty, Anna? Your maid, Bertha. That is not the type of beauty that I admire. No, I suppose not.
Delighted to know that you have arrived.
We've all been expecting you, Egbert, my dear boy.
Ah, my dear Mother Dalton. More ravishing than ever. I'm certain that you have discovered the very fountain of youth that was found by Ponce de Leon.
If she has, I wish she'd allow me the use of it.
Oh, I'm sure there's no need of that, Miss Alvarado. This climate seems to agree with you.
Especially the warmer weather. It brings out the Spanish in me.
Had I known we were receiving guests, Mr. Van Horn, I would have changed.
Oh, it's quite all right, old man. I'm taking Eloise to the up-to-down reception this evening. Hence my attire.
I can't imagine what's detaining Eloise. I'll hurry her along for you, Egbert.
One would wait years for a glimpse of such rare beauty as that bestowed upon our fair Eloise, dear Mother Dalton.
Oh, you do say the dearest things, Egbert, my dear boy. No wonder Eloise has lost her heart to you. No wonder, indeed. All women love to hear honeyed speeches.
Most women are too busy making speeches to listen to them, Anna.
Can you amuse yourself until I return, Egbert? Eloise will be so happy to hear you've arrived. Come and sit down beside me, Jack. I haven't talked to you in ever so long.
I'm sorry, Anna, but I have some papers to look over in my study. I'm sure Egbert here will be only too happy to entertain you. That I'm certain.
Cash. And I will give you $1,000 if you succeed in luring the maid out of the house for the evening, under the pretext of taking her to the theater.
$1,000 to take a maid to a theater? No. No, it is not enough.
Then I will give you $5,000. That should be of help for the time being.
But how is this going to aid you in your suit with Jack Dalton, Anna?
Once the girl is out of the house, I will circulate stories so that Mrs. Dalton will never allow her to put her foot on the premises.
But murder?
No, it's not poison. I haven't been sleeping well of late, and the doctor has given me this sleeping potion. Works quickly, as if by magic.
But
Don't you see? If the maid refuses to accompany you willingly, we must use other means. I will put a large dose of this in the water, and you must see that she drinks it.
so far so good. And then?
We will have an attendant from the insane asylum call for her this very evening, after I have spread stories of her insanity.
Splendid, my dear Anna. I couldn't have thought of a better plan myself. But won't the attendant or physician wish to examine this player before they commit her to an asylum?
A real attendant would. But tonight, the attendant should be no other than Jackson, my butler.
The night is over, you will be far away from here, never to gaze upon the face of the man you love again.
Let go of me, do you hear?
Think, girl, think. Your entire future rests upon your decision here tonight.
My answer is no, 1,000 times no. Now let go of me, you're hurting me.
Come away with me and I will shower you with jewels, fine silks, and satins. You will never know a moment's worry or pain.
Unhand me, villain.
Unless you do my bidding, your life will be one long torture. Nothing can save you now.
Nothing shall save you, Edward Van Horn.
Jack, thank God. You arrived just in the nick of time. This cur was insisting that I spend the evening with him. And when I repulsed his advances, he threatened to disgrace me.
A likely story. What would a man of my position and social standing have to do with it? Come, sir.
Enough! Another word and I will not answer for the consequences. Leave the room, my dearest, while I deal with this scoundrel in private.
Do not hurt him badly, Jack. I beg you.
Do as I tell you, Bertha. This scoundrel shall pay dearly for this night's work.
Very clever of you, I'm sure, Jack. I appreciate you getting rid of that pest of a girl so easily.
And what do you mean by that last remark, Van Horn?
For some strange reason, she took an unaccountable fancy to me on sight, in spite of the fact that I hastened to assure her of my lack of interest.
That is a lie. I heard you begging, nay, pleading her to fly
these things are, Jack. I was startled when she started to work her woman's wiles on me, and I admit that for a moment I lost my head. I understand that you too have been paying attention to this maid.
But only in a far different way, you cowardly hypocrite. I offer her the true love of a strong man.
Oh yes, I know the trick. I've used it often enough myself. But surely you're not serious in pursuing this matter, Jack. Think of what your mother would say.
I have not what my mother would say. My life is to do it as I please.
But surely you would never disgrace the Dalton name by throwing yourself away on a penniless little upstart.
Enough! Another word and I shall force you to beg Bertha's pardon on your bended knees.
Upon my word, Jack, I'm beginning to think that you are serious.
I've never been more serious in my whole entire life. Now, I advise you to procure your hat and coat and leave this house at once and never darken these doors again as long as you ever shall live.
But what of my engagement to your sister Eloise?
Surely you don't think I allow my tender-hearted little sister to marry such a scoundrel like you?
Oh, come now, Jack. Enough of this idle banter. I'll make a deal with you. You promise to forget that little scene. I'll say nothing to your mother, your affair with Bertha. Well, Jack, is it a bargain? What is your answer?
This is my answer. Now be gone before I really lose my temper and forget that you're supposed to be a man.
Curse you, Jack Dalton! You shall pay dearly for this insult!
Save your threats, Edward Van Horn. They fall on empty ears. If you should be foolish enough to cross my path again, I shall crush you like the stick that you are. Now be gone!
I've always hated you from the first moment I laid eyes on you. So you think you can crush me, do you? We shall see. Remember, this is war to the finish. Before I'm through with you would wish you'd never incurred my enmity. Have a care, Jack Dalton. The game is just beginning. We shall see who will be the victor!
Oh, Jack, thank God you were saved. I was afraid he might hurt you.
Hurt me? That black-hearted scoundrel.
Jack, there's not a moment to be lost. You must hurry, find your mother and sister. That man is not Egbert Van Horn.
What's this you say?
I tell you, I know whereof I speak. He is Hector Harcourt, who stole my brother's golden giant mine. He is sailing under false colors.
Sailing where?
Don't you understand? He's pretending to be someone he's not to ensnare your sister Eloise and win her fortune. As soon as he has his hands on her wealth, he will surely desert her for another.
But my darling, I cannot expose this rascal without some further proof.
We can only go to your mother and tell her everything.
Be brave, my sweet. Soon we shall be able to. Nothing shall ever part us, Bertha. Nothing.
But Jack, you don't know Hector as I do. Heaven alone knows what he's planning to do in order to ruin us.
Whatever it is, I shall block his little scheme. Be brave, my sweet. I have to go into my study and look over some papers and think of what is the best to do. Remember, we still have each other.
I just went over to the house to give my servants some instructions.
I hope you're enjoying yourself, Anna.
I would be, if only you were by my side. Why have you been avoiding me of late, Jack?
I've had many things on my mind here recently, Anna.
Yes, I suppose it is a strain. Will you be able to have luncheon with me tomorrow?
I'm afraid not. I have an important meeting tomorrow. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go to my study.
Another word. When I hired her, she told me that she was single. I'll never be able to trust her again.
Mother has something to say to you, Bertha.
Why did you tell me that you were single when you applied for the position here?
Why, what do you mean, Mrs. Dalton?
Enough of this. You know what I mean. You deny that you're a married woman with a baby?
A baby? There must be some mistake.
I hope I'm not intruding, dear Mrs. Dalton. Of course not, Anna, dear. Sit down and do. Seems your suspicions of my maid were warranted after all. Edward, my dear boy, soon to be one of the family, and we have no secrets to keep from you.
Oh, I'm just expecting Eloise down any moment, so I'll wait here.
I overheard you talking with a man who you called Richard. Do you deny that he is your husband?
Richard is not my husband. Oh, please, you must believe me.
Not your husband. Then who is he?
I cannot tell you now, but if you'll only trust me a short while, I promise I'll explain everything.
A likely story. I don't believe a word of it. Pack your things and leave my house at once, you deceitful girl!
Stop, Mother! I will not allow it. Bertha's my wife, and my place is beside her.
Your
Wife?
We were married just yesterday in the little church around the corner.
Then I should take steps immediately to have this marriage set aside. You shall be a wife in name only.
I shall not permit it. I love Bertha, and she loves me.
My son, married to a penniless nobody, the disgrace would kill me.
Come, Bertha, we are only wasting time here.
Think well before you defy me, my son. If you leave this house with that girl, then I'll cut off your allowance, and you won't have another penny of the Dalton fortune.
What care I for wealth? I have Bertha, and she has me.
Jack, I cannot allow you to make such a sacrifice. In time, you will long for this gay world and all of your friends and come to hate me.
Of course you would. It's nice to see you have a little sense left.
Can you call yourself a mother? Can you stand by and see your son's heart broken for your own social ambitions? Woman, the very tigress is more tender to its young.
You dare defy me! You, a common maid! Leave this house at once, I insist!
Come, Bertha.
Jack, you...
Alternative. Bertha's my wife, and my place is beside her.
Stick him up! Stick him up and get back there, I say!
Mother! Mother! There's a strange man in the hallway with your revolver, and he's pointed right at us first!
Hold those hands high! Why my finger so anxious to pull this trigger? What's all I can do to stand it?
Jackson, how dare you molest Mr. Van Horn?
My name isn't Jackson any more than this scoundrel's name is Van Horn. He's Hanger Hardcore who stole the Golden Giant mine from me.
I don't know what this fool is talking about. I've never seen him before in my life.
That is the very man who I saw talking to Bertha in this room only a few moments ago.
He is my brother, Jack. Your mother mistook him for my husband when she heard him telling me about his baby, little Bertha, named after me.
Right. And I'm going to prove that this scoundrel is the fiend I say he is. Now hold those hands high and don't stir.
If you read that paper, the game is up.
I don't know what you're talking about. It succeeds in ridding the house of the hateful presence of Mrs. Dalton's maid Bertha for the evening. You wrote this note and signed it. What is the meaning of this, Anna? It's all his fault. He's been blackmailing me for months.
That's a lie. She was determined to place Bertha Blair in an insane asylum so she could marry Jack Dalton and get the Dalton fortune.
I have never been so insulted in all my life. Let me out of here.
Not so fast, sister. I'm turning you both over to the law.
Oh, no, not that. Anything but that. I'll do anything.
I'll prosecute this man and make sure your Golden Giant mine is restored back to you safely.
Curse you, Jack Dalton! If it had been for your meddling interference,
That's enough out of you! Now, outside! March! And don't stop until I say so.
And accepting me as your daughter.
That's easy enough, I'm sure. Bless you both.